And now to the discussion. Let me just introduce my guests for the morning. Rexoma needs no introduction as well to our music scene, but our creative space, because now he's into shaping policy, advocacy, into the politics of it. And Rexoma, distinguished veteran, distinguished somebody that we always have to celebrate. Good morning to you, Ms. Omar. All right. And then Kojo Preku is my longtime friend. I think we've known each other over 20 years now. That's a bit.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm fine. How you doing?
He's the president. It's the second time, I think, in a week or three that you're here, right?
Sure.
Okay, he's currently the president for the Foundation of Arts Professionals, FOCAP for short. FOCAP people, how are you?
We are fine. And how you doing?
Oh, I'm well. Now, let's take some of those responsible for John Dramani Mahama, because they form parts of his creative arts policies for the sector.
And I have good news for the creative industry. Our overarching policy for the industry shall be the Black Star Experience. And this will be geared towards boosting the tourism and creative arts sector. It will include the Pan-African Month, the Ghana Film Festival and Awards Month, the Ghanaian Heritage and History Month, the Fashion and Food Month, and the Diasporan Month. Additionally, we'll rehabilitate all our regional centers of national culture and make them available to the creative industry. We'll also support aging artists many of whom currently live in poverty.
Yeah, well, apart from the months, I thought I loved supporting the aging artists. As a society, we don't seem to have a certain welfare system that tends to give back to the artists when they are old, and I really loved it. Good morning. So these are policy initiatives that have been put together, formulated, I believe will be through consultation. How widespread was it?
Thank you very much. It is very widespread because you remember recently former President Mahama even had an engagement with the creatives, so as to be able to listen to them. And then also he also brought us these policies, and everybody who were there, they were happy, because it all boils down to the Black Star Experience. And let me just expand on the Black Star Experience. What is Black Star? He took it from our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's Black Star stuff. And black is us. Star, it means we are stars. And stars always shine, right? Okay. So it is an embracing of our culture, embracing ourselves, believing in ourselves and in the African personality. So it involves producing our own clothing and wear them, believing in our culture, do our own music, produce our own films, create our own cultural identity, and be proud of it so as to be able to create products out of it, use them, and export them. So it is a whole reset, changing of our mindsets to be able to believe in our culture. So it's an encompassing thing. That is why it's an overarching policy.
Okay.
So under the Black Star Experience, there are subsectors. It was almost 22 subsectors. So all these festivals and the food and fashion festival, the Pan-African festivals, and all these things are going to be monthly stuff. So every month, there's something that is happening. And you know, the creative sector and the tourism, creative culture and tourism sector is a sector that if we pay attention and become intentional about it, it can change the destiny of this country. It's happening in other countries. And the whole aspect of it is to be able to create jobs for the youth. You know, even though it's in the informal sector, it is about time Ghana focuses on it, and that's what President Mahama is trying to do.
FOCAP, are you part of the Black Star Experience, or you are just key players within the sector, and so you kind of critique and add to the conversation?
No, we seriously align with the Black Star Experience, and then again, we still want to do our advocacy that we want to do, simply because looking at the declaration of having the golden age of culture, art, and tourism, we think that is one of the best things that will ever happen to the creative sector. I think there's something that we are missing here. The actual thing is that if we definitely grow our culture, which emanates from the Black Star, and you know the Black Star line, the Black Star history from 1990, Marcus Garvey's time, the Pan-Africanism and all that, it tells you the value the present, 22 points under the Black Star experience is going to provide. I mean, if we place much value on culture, which would drive the art and tourism, I think it's one of the best things that, is going to happen to us in this country. Simply because, again, if you look at the way we are treating ourselves, we kind of giving tourism some maximum attention where we know very well that it is equally driven by culture. I mean, check. Every single thing that the tourism people will have to do depends on culture.
You're saying they are interlinked?
Is that?
They are very much interlinked.
Exactly. But we tend to see culture as one of the things that we don't give much attention to. Like Rex was saying, our food, our festivals. I mean, tell me, how many festivals in this country have you seen, being elevated the way it has to be elevated? But we find our own people going outside the country, going to have festivals in some people's countries.
Some even go and put on Arabian ropes with their swords and daggers and as part of their festivals and things like that.
Exactly. So if the Black Star experience is going to really give much attention to culture and raise it into, a way that we really need to, project it, I think it's one of the things that, seriously speaking, we are aligned to it, and we feel that it is much, better for the country.
Now, if we're trying to look at the policy side and we want to rally everybody together, I take it that when the former president and all of you and his team were doing that engagement with the creative arts sector, you have inputted some of their concerns or propositions into the policy initiatives that have been announced or will be announced in the manifesto?
Yes. The day in fact, even during the formulation of the policies, a lot of engagements were done through the various organizations under the creative economy. And then when the president engaged us, a lot of people also said so many things that fell within the policy framework. So it was clear that just like NDC always called its manifesto People's Manifesto. So most of the things that President Mahama said were things that people were expecting him to say. Because it's like now, for the first time in the history of Ghana, a flag bearer of the major political party says that he's declaring his next government golden age of culture, tourism, and arts. Golden age means they're going to put emphasis on the cultural, tourism, and creative art industry. And that is why Andarete laid down the 22 pointers. And they all are things that people in the creatives want to see and want to hear. And then if seriously this thing comes to play, trust me, it will change a lot of things in this country.
I see. Okay, so we've been joined by some other key individual who also plays a key role in the sector as well. Currently with the Creative Arts Agency, Deputy Chief Executive. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Kwabena Owusu.
Thank you.
Okay, so for the Black experience,
Black Star
experience, is the Creative Arts Agency also in tune with it in terms of what the proposition should be for policy as we head towards the elections for the creative arts sector?
Okay, when you say in tune, how do you mean? Like, are we aligning with the statements from the ex-president?
So I'm talking about not necessarily aligning, but also having a certain thought of a buying, because you're a national agency,
okay,
not a political agency.
No, it's heartwarming to have, you know, a flag bearer of a major political party outline these policies that, their party intends to put together as a structure for our industry. For me, it's gratifying to note that today we have creative arts being at the center of national discourse and at the helm of the highest of campaign. And this has been made possible, and we give credit and flowers to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for championing this and beginning this creative politics agenda, And so today we are riding on it. And for me, it's gratifying to know that tomorrow, when elections is over, it will be part of proper government discourse in Parliament. So I'm happy that he's outlined all these things for the sector. However, and greetings to Uncle Rex and Kojo Preko. There's a saying in Twi. You speak Twi? Yeah, that kwatre kwase obema ontuma tienidin, literally meaning if a naked man says he'll give you cloth, listen to his name. Why am I saying this? Because in records, 4th August 2013, a group of creative practitioners besieged the ex-president, and he categorically stated, and this is public knowledge, that he's procured Turkish Exim Bank fund to support the creative sector. And key amongst them was to put a second national theater in Kumasi. This was in 2013, when he was trying to woo the interest of creative practitioners for him to get elected again as president in the following government session. 2014 down the line, he tweeted again that we're going to be having a serious engagement with the creative sector and building theaters for the sector. And these are all part of the things that he promised, but never happened, never saw the day of light. We are in 2024. And so if you were able to secure a Turkish Exim fund, and I don't even know whether the money was procured and whether it was used or it was diverted to another industry, I don't know. I can't answer for that, but I've not seen it.
Okay.
And you didn't do it. So when you...
You're saying it didn't manifest?
It didn't manifest. And when you outline 20 items, the single one, you didn't do it. So how are you sure you can do the 20? That's my big question. It's beautiful, the things that he has outlined, very beautiful. But I must be quick to note that they are not new also. All the things that have been listed, they are not new. They are all in existence. We can take the one after the other. They are all there. The Pan-African Month, we already have Panafest. Ghana already has Panafest. So why would you want to reinvent a different wheel? The Ghana Film Festival and Awards Month. It's a very good initiative, but we have awards, we have film awards, we have all those celebrations already. What is going to be too different from this one? And who is going to do it? Who is going to implement that? You know, it looks a lot, but quite ambiguous. Ghanaian Heritage and History Month. It's too ambiguous. Are we talking about NAFAC? Because NAFAC already exists. NAFAC exists, and we celebrate NAFAC every year. Fashion and Food Month. We already know the Ghana Tourism Authority. Roland, I've been seeing you every year on the Ghana Month in March. TV3 does so well with it. Yeah. All your presenters dress up nicely, projecting and presenting Ghana heritage in fashion. It's not new. Diaspora Month, by God's grace, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo brought the biggest movement to Ghana now that we are enjoying. The year of return, now it's become beyond the return. This has been at the helm of the projection of tourism and arts in the last four years and counting.
I think the year before the COVID year.
Yes.
2019.
It's been tremendous, and the gains tremendous into the ecosystem of the tourism, arts, and culture. And all these beautiful ideas is already outlined, are all in existence. So my question is, what is new? Because they're already there. You don't need to reinvent anything. All the things that you are giving different names to, they all exist anyways. So what is new? If you haven't been able to do the theater that you secure the funding for, what should we trust that you can do the 20 items that you have put together? They are beautiful, but there are question marks.
Okay. Mr. Omar, the direct thing is that there seemed to be a direct inquisition, questioning the relevance of some of these propositions, knowing that there are policy initiatives that have been manifesting into activities or actions already in existence. As a result of that, the talk is that it's going to be a duplication.
Okay, so I'll go back to the same thing that he said. When they came to power, there was Panafest.
Panafest has been in the 90s.
Yes, they came and changed the name and call it Year of Return. Okay? So, it has to do with diaspora, right? Okay. The NAFAC thing you're talking about, NAFAC was created by NDC. And so if he says there's going to be festivals for arts and culture, he did not necessarily mention the name NAFAC, but it's a project that NDC created. We are not going to reinvent the wheels, but we are going to just make it better. Nobody is going to come and say, we are cancelling
beyond the
returns. But you came to meet Panafest. Have you ever celebrated Panafest? No, you came to change your name and did it the way you want. So, in Akan, they say, Enamdodo and Senkwan. So you cannot tell me that because you've come and neglected Panafest and you've created Beyond the Return, we should let Panafest die. It will not happen. Let's go forward. You are saying that, oh, he said he has secured funds from Exim to build a theater, and he didn't do it. If you understand project financing, securing a fund, you can go to a bank, agree with the bank that I'm looking for this amount of money to do ABC. They can agree, yes, but due to the economic factors, something can delay. There are so many projects that...
Did you find out whether the funding that he's talking about, the technical, was sourced? Because I know that for many of the times when we're dealing with the government people and the state institutions, you sign a memorandum of understanding. Sometimes it doesn't come to fruition because of... A key example will be the funding for many of the hospitals that were supposed to have been under the Eurojust projects.
Exactly.
Before the exit of the Kufuor administration.
So as a leader, if a fund is secured, an agreement is done that, okay, memorandum of understanding, we are going to fund ABCD. If the fund doesn't come in, it does not necessarily mean that because it was in his previous manifesto, because of the genuineness of the intention, he has reinstated that he's still going to do it. Okay. Do you understand? This is not a new thing. For example, you are sitting here, you've been in power for almost 8 years. Most of the things you said you were going to do, didn't you also promise that you are going to build theaters in all the regions, 3 regions to start with?
We'll come to that.
Have you built that?
Okay, Kojo Prekom, what I do understand, and all of us are in the creative arts industry because we're in media and all that, is that there has to be a synergy to do the advocacy for everybody else. So, for example, even if there's a key, for me, I feel that there's a concern. But if you go to the developed West, if there's a fund that's made available, if you want to do filming, you want to do an event, you go apply and you can source, and then you can use, and then you pay back or something of the sort. How do we bring synergy to these policy propositions that are coming? Because there'll be a new one also that will be coming from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's team. I'm sure by the time they do the announcement, as they are doing the engagement in the manifesto, how do we synergize all these, knowing that this is important, taking cue from the 2 individuals as they are seated here?
I think it's all about the the structure. Now, if you have a solid structure within the space, that really, synergize every single things that they're talking about. So, for instance, in the same era of John Mahama, initiating and bringing the National Film Authority, of which we now have an executive secretary,
Yeah.
and a lame duck board chairman, okay, running that particular NFA as we speak in 2016. That in itself is one of the structures that we're talking about. Again, we should have by now have the funds, okay, for movie makers to use, okay, because the act in itself, 193, okay, speaks about the film fund that is supposed to help promote the agenda of this country. Let's ask ourselves, for almost 8 years now, okay, do we have a fund to talk about? No. We have moved on from one act, as in the National Film Authority, and we're talking about the Creative Art Agency, of which Frank is supposed to be the deputy of the place, okay? Deputizing an illegal executive secretary, okay, of which we don't even have a board for solid 8 years. So what are we talking about?
So you're saying there are bottlenecks within the policy
there are too many
implementation.
bottlenecks in the space. I mean, the same place he is supervising, the same place we have the daughter of the president, Manning, okay, is not even taking care of the very foundation that we're talking about. So what are we talking about here? Who is doing what? Now, you look at the level play field and you ask yourself too many questions. Why? We're talking about renovation of theaters, okay, which is part of the 22 bullet points that John Mahama raised. Renovation of these same theater, existing cultural centers that we have. In this present government, they had letters of commencement for contractors to renovate to the tune of 30 billion old Ghana cedis. As we speak, none except one in Koforidua was done. That was when now the presidential candidate of the same party stood in Cape Coast and said that they have built a theater,
Okay.
which was a lie. Okay? It is an existing theater of the National Commission on Culture that was renovated because it was NAFAC. That is why they did. Now, look at the things that we keep saying. Anytime we're going to have NAFAC, that is when they renovate one. We're going to have NAFAC in Tamale. I bet you, I think in Tamale or BA.
And NAFAC is the National Film Festival, right?
Exactly. Go and check. They are now going to renovate that particular center. So when you have had that liberty, okay, to really bring everybody on board and put structures there, we have not seen it.
Okay.
We're talking about the Marine Drive, right? Isn't it the same Marine Drive that was initiated way back from Nkrumah's time? Is it not the same?
The one that we have.
Is it not the same Marine Drive that we had then Elizabeth Ejari, who was then the Minister for Information, initiating that process? Today, Deputy Minister of Tourism, Mark Okreko-Manten, Chief Director, sit in front of Parliament and tell them that the monies that were supposed to deal with the Marine Drive is finished, depleted. What did they use the money for? One of them was the fact that we used it for Kundum Festival. There are too many things that have not really positioned
So we need
us.
some level of synergies. Huh?
Exactly. And for me, if we don't have, we're going to have a serious problem.
Kwabena, at the end of the day, the theatres that we were promising for the industry, were they built? Which ones have been built? And so then it gives some level of comfort for the industry.
Okay, so yes, I cannot sit here and tell you that we've built any theater.
No, you mean
because
there's no one single theatre that has been completed?
if I land, you probably understand me. Unlike securing a fund,
Okay.
you build a theater, but you need resources to do that, right? You need funding to be able to do that, right? And so if I don't have funding to do it, and I have other means to ensure that you still have a theater, which you have been told and you have seen that is ongoing. I mean, the amphitheaters, and I'm sure every industry person is aware that we've started putting up some amphitheaters. and by close of this year, we should see 5 of them across the region for creative people to exhibit their content in these
So
regions.
there are 5 amphitheaters that will be ready by close of the year.
By close of the
in
year.
5 regions.
Yes, in 5 regions. Okay. So my issue is, you know, I'll come here properly. I'm sure that you also give me time when we have launched ours to tell you, dig proper into what we've been able to do and what we intend to add up and all that. My concern is not to rubbish what they have said. My concern is that they are already in there. So tell Ghanaian people that you are coming to, you know, refurbish it or make it presentable, but don't let it look like some new things that you are coming to do.
So what you are saying is that they are just going to rename existing
everything
things.
that they have said is just rehashing the things that is ongoing by the ruling government led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the Ministry of Tourism led by Ejapa Mensah and Marco Krikumante. So Marine Drive that he just spoke about, we see it. I mean, now when you go there, don't you see it's cleared? Now you now need private sector. It's not government who is going to put up the Marine Drive.
After depleting the
it's
accounts,
the private sector that need to put
who?
up those skyscrapers that you see when you go to New York and the like.
Can you tell us how much was in
your
the
education you are
coffers?
talking about? Creative Arts Agency that you, Kojo, you are aware. We have been able to draft an education bill that you know. An education bill has been presented to the Ministry of Education to be able to run creative education first time in this country with seriousness.
Illegal setup.
To run in parallel with the national curriculum.
Which education now?
Let me finish. I did not interject when you were talking, I beg you.
Right.
Run in tandem
finish
with the national curriculum. It's a draft being presented, work on it.
No, you're saying that first we didn't have creative arts.
No,
because I learned creative arts.
Yeah, you did, but was it a mandated course that you were doing? No. We're talking about
you mean like it's going to be an elective or what?
Exactly. Running an elective from the basic level. So you can take your work to school and opt for creative education straight. You don't wait for people to fall out and you put them in universities and call them all sort of names. We want to take creative education very serious in this country, that people can introduce it to their wards from the basic level. And how to do that is to put up a creative education in Kumasi, a high school, to begin that. If I say I will do something, I must put my foot forward. And that's an example that you have seen. And one will be replicated after in the Volta region. Creative education, that people can actually opt to go to a secondary school that is 100% dedicated to creative arts.
Okay.
You see? So all these things that they are saying, I'm saying that it's a rehashing of the things that is already running.
Do we have any support scheme for aging artists? Because many of the times when we leave the media, we don't have anything.
Unfortunately.
We keep hearing all our former artists doing advocacy for ailments here and there and trying to live on pension.
Unfortunately, we all don't have.
So
I don't know how.
So this one is a good initiative.
It's not possible. I don't know how they are going to implement this. Because government, the creative practitioners are private people. How is government going to pay them? Are you going to use the state funds to pay them? Who is going to do that?
If you can't do it,
give us an initiative. No, we have already told you how we are going to do it. We said it. We have told you.
Are you saying that it is not possible to introduce a scheme to support aging artists in Ghana?
It's possible to introduce, but how are they going to implement that?
Okay. But that is not your concern.
No,
because
it's ambiguous. I'm saying that it's so ambiguous. When you say you are instituting a scheme, are you using government funds?
If you take a look at all these, how will the implementation of these going to improve on existing ones? And the new one, like going to have the scheme for the aging artists, etc., also going to be an added on?
I'm finding it difficult to even understand him, because the very creative art agency that he pretends to be a deputy CEO. This is
that's not fair.
Hold on.
When you say pretend,
I will explain to you. Let us be honest to ourselves.
But he's been appointed.
Let us be honest. Let us be honest. You see, we are all creatives. Apart from the politics, let us be honest so that this creative industry can be positioned into its rightful place. How many years, to start with, it is NDC that introduced this bill to establish the Creative Art Agency. Don't forget that. That is why we set up the tourism center where you used to have your office. Okay.
But it wasn't a creative
hold
art
on.
office.
Hold on.
It was a tourism center.
Please, hold on.
There was not even a desk
let him have his time.
At the Ministry of Tourism, there was not a directorate for the arts.
Let me finish. It took some time before the bill was passed. After the bill was passed, the processes that we need to even go through to have the board to appoint the CEO, the board is supposed to appoint the CEO, all these things has been hijacked. The president just appointed his daughter, and then you were there working, whether as a chief executive or whatever. Now they say you are deputy secretary. I didn't want to put this thing out. How many years haven't you worked at that place and you haven't even been paid because they didn't know what to put you? Because
Uncle, that's not what we are talking about.
No. Let me explain.
Is it true you haven't been paid?
We are talking policies.
Let me. No.
Whether I've been paid.
I want.
Does it then question the commitment of the government towards the?
No,
I'm just
Is
questioning.
it true some people are not
But he
paid
cannot say
adequately?
explicitly.
I'm just
because,
questioning.
Because today, as we sit here,
We are in the industry. Let me finish.
Okay.
Don't interject, please.
Okay.
We are all in this industry. Apart from the politics and the propaganda, let us be honest. Okay. So that the right
So you're
things...
saying we shouldn't add the politics to what is needed for the creative arts?
Exactly.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say here is whether it is done by NDC government or it is done by NPP government and it is done properly.
Yeah.
That is what this country needs.
But as you said, you know the LI stakeholder conversation is
My
going
time
on.
is up.
Hold on,
I wanted to do this for
This
25
conversation
minutes.
is
But it looks like we've
it's
exceeded
good that you
And
brought
that
this.
will professionalize what we are talking about.
Let me.
Right?
It's good
And
you
from
brought
me, I'm
it.
going with
No,
him. We are going for the national stakeholder
You have not
engagement.
invited me. You have invited some few people that you want.
That's not true.
No.
Gamro has been invited.
Please.
Gamro has been invited. You are part of the leadership.
And why don't I know that?
All right, so this is what we're going to do.
Invited?
This is
you
what we're
are
going to do.
sneaking that thing. So the whole situation is you guys are already you are politicizing the Creative Arts Agency to start with.
That's very unfair.
It is true.
That's very unfair.
Because your CEO...
Ladies and gentlemen,
Take your cameras.
An agency that doesn't have a board. Do you have a board?
Rex.
And go check the
Do
number
you
of people
have a
who
board?
are seated and
Do
discussing
you have a
creative.
board? The Creative Arts
If you
Agency.
don't
So
pass this,
do you have
that'll
a
be
board?
how do you get a
now.
board without this?
We have to go for a break. We'll be back for more.